The Banshees of Inisherin. Now, I'm gonna be completely open, transparent, and honest with you guys with this one. This movie has hit me on a deeper level, on a more personal level, than I think any film has ever done before. And I feel like every single person has gone through that at least once in their lives, where they at least watch one movie and they go, it feels like that movie was made for me at this point in my life. Now, I know a lot of teenagers, especially on the internet, think that that's Avengers Endgame because it was like their first big tentpole movie, but I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm talking about a movie that you watch and it just feels like it's being made for you because of what's going on in your personal life. Now, when you ask someone, especially a lot of moviegoers, a lot of movie fans, why do you love movies? Why do you collect a lot of 4Ks? Why do you like to go to the theater every single weekend and watch these films? The answer most of the time is about escapism. We want to be transported out of our everyday lives into a brand new world. We want to go to a theme park where dinosaurs exist. We want to go to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, to boldly go where no one has gone before, or a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. We want to be transported out of our lives into a new world. However, I completely agree with that, by the way. However, I do believe that movies can also teach us a lot about the world that we actually live in right now, and can make us have a new outlook on life. And sometimes when watching a movie, it can be very therapeutic and cathartic. That's what I got with Banshees of Inisherin. I felt like this movie, when watching it, was being made specifically for me at this moment in my life. Now let me explain why that is. The story is about two men, Padraig and Colm, Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, and they're living on this tiny island off the coast of Ireland in the 1920s. And what do you know, they are the best of friends. Until one day, Colm decides that he does not want to be friends with Padraig anymore. Just one morning, he wants him out of his life. He wants absolutely nothing to do with him. And throughout the movie, we find out the reason for this is because Colm doesn't believe that hanging out with Padraig is a very productive use of his time. He thinks it's a waste of time, and he wants to spend more time on his so-called music career. This is exactly what happened to me. Well, sure, I don't live on the coast of Ireland. I do live in Canada, but I had a best friend who is a musical artist, and we were the best of friends. We would talk about movies, we would talk about music, we would talk about Star Wars, geek out about all this nerdy stuff. We would talk about our relationships with other women, and we would just be there for each other in times of need. We were the best of friends. Until one day this year, out of nowhere, I'm completely exiled from his life. Unfollowed on all social media accounts, he's not returning my text messages or phone calls, and at the end of our friendship, he was actually moving, and I offered to help him move into his new place because he helped me move into my new place a year earlier. And he's like, it's okay, I got my brothers. That was the last I ever heard from him. So why did he do this? What's the reason for this? And I will get into the movie. Trust me, I will. But what's the reason for this? He never really gave me one. I'm thinking, is it because he doesn't like my girlfriend? Or, and this is probably the more obvious answer, everything in his life has to be in service of his music career, and a friendship with me no longer fits the bill. So, on to new things. But getting into the movie shows us that no matter what you do, people will grow, people will change, and people will go on their own separate life path. And there's nothing you can really do about it. And if someone else is leaving your life, you have to let them go. And I know it sucks. Having a breakup in a relationship is almost less painful than a friend that you've known forever, a best friend, just up and leave your life, because you feel just truly rejected. And you start to think, oh, did I do something wrong? It doesn't really matter. And the movie teaches us this, that you want people in your life who actually want to be there. And if people don't want to be in your life, then you shouldn't have those people in your life. Simply put, no matter what the reason is, you don't want people like that around you. You want friends who don't think that you're just expendable. So yes, people change. Don't waste your energy trying to stop the change. And Padraig in this movie, Colin Farrell's character, people are changing all around him. Friends are going their own ways. Friends are taking business opportunities. People are dying. People are forming new relationships. That's life. Life goes on. And yes, sometimes that can make you extremely lonely. This movie definitely shows us that rejection sucks. No matter if it's in a romantic setting or just in a friendship setting, rejection sucks. But that's what life is. It's a part of life when we have to cope with it, and we just have to keep going forward. You just gotta be true to who you are, be authentic, and naturally speaking, people will want to be around your authentic energy. And people who don't, you know what? there's the door. So the message of the movie really hit me in the feels because I'm going through the exact same thing right now. And this movie was also very personal to me because I'm half Irish. A lot of the Irish humor and a lot of the Irish accents really hit home. You know, I have a lot of family in Cork, so like the way they speak a bit few octaves higher than the rest of the country, boy. Like, what's he 12 like? So the accent to me felt just at home. And I will admit, I feel like some people might have a hard time understanding what they're saying without subtitles, but for me personally, I loved the Irishness of this movie. But why should you see this movie? I know I went off that huge tangent, and I felt like I needed to because, again, with these reviews, I want to be as open and honest as possible, and I believe that the best movies will hit us in ways that are completely subjective to each other. But there are some objective reasons why I can also say that, yes, this movie is one of the best movies I've seen all year. So I know that we're really far into the video, but let's just get the intro out of the way. Hey guys, my name is Brandon, aka the BrandoCritic. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Hey, like and subscribe, yada yada yada. We were talking about Banshees of Inisherin. I'm gonna tell you if it's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. And I just wanted to get out my real personal, deep, put my heart on a sleeve, put my heart on a plate type of stuff out of the way. But there's 3 reasons why you should watch this movie, okay? It's so well crafted. It's so well made. Number 2, it's paced incredibly well. My eyes were glued to the screen. And when a movie is not just a bunch of explosions, it's not a bunch of action sequences, it's not like a joke per minute type of like raunchy comedy, and it's not like a science fiction fantasy film with a bunch of CGI, it's just characters on a little island talking with one another all the time, and yet you're completely glued to the screen. Like that's powerful filmmaking. Like that's true character storytelling right there. It's not using these external ways for us to really be glued to the screen and using all of those like attention span tricks and manipulations. And thirdly, and the biggest reason of all, it's so just goddamn funny. But if you guys have watched until now, hit that like button and then stay to the end, and then I'm gonna give you my rating and my secret phrase. But I also should tell you who directed the movie. Martin McDonagh, In Bruges, 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, and 7 Psychopaths, which I saw that as a teenager. I really hated that movie, but now watching his other movies, maybe I should go back to that. Who knows? Let's see. But it stars Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson from In Bruges fame. They have amazing chemistry. They are both just fantastic in this movie. Oscar nomination? Maybe. But there are 2 actors who I do think should definitely be considered for Oscar. Kerry Condon and Barry Keoghan. I've heard it pronounced multiple ways, so tell me down in the comment section, is it Keoghan, whatever the case may be. They are fantastic in this movie. Now, for you superhero fans out there, Kerry Condon is Friday, or the new Jarvis in the MCU, that little Irish voice in Tony Stark's / Peter Parker's suits. And Barry Keoghan is in the Eternals and is the Joker in Batman. So we have some superhero connections in this movie for people who don't normally like to step outside the realm of those. But they're all spectacular, but man, Kerry Condon and Barry Keoghan, they really were absolutely fantastic. They have these monologues that are just hilarious. I've never heard a theater that loud before, ever. This was number 1. And I've seen Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters. I've seen Avengers Endgame in theaters. I've seen Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2 in theaters. I've seen a lot of big tentpole movies in theaters. This was the one that got the loudest response. That's saying something, guys. And what I like about all these performances is that they're acting just phenomenally, but I see characters on screen. I don't see actors acting on screen. People were asking me about Amsterdam, the new David O. Russell movie, Margot Robbie, Christian Bale, all that good stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good movie, I guess, but I can't get emotionally invested because I just see actors acting. Look at how good we're acting right now. That's all I see. Here, I see these real characters, these real people, and real relationships being torn apart. It felt so cathartic to actually see because it felt like this was really happening. Oh, and by the way, this is during the Civil War in Ireland, so when the characters are on the island, on the mainland, you see explosions, and it's a great parallel between, Civil War in the countryside, and then Civil War between 2 people. Best of friends, no longer friends, and yeah, it gets ugly, but I dare not spoil what happens. If you know this director, then you're gonna see some shocking things, and it might get a little bit over the top for some people, but I feel like that even just, it's a really dark, humorous movie. It's a black comedy. The pacing, like I said earlier, was fantastic. My girlfriend was actually trying to ask me things during the movie, or say little things, which, we'll say oh, that's the person from this movie, or little things like that. And I'm like, most of the time I'll listen, but in this movie I'm like, I can't, I gotta focus. Maybe it's because it was hitting me on such a deep personal level. Who knows? And finally, the comedy. This movie is absolutely hilarious, and this movie does have jokes. This movie does have gags. This movie does have a little tiny bit of slapstick, and this movie has a lot of shock value, but a lot of the humor just comes from situations that our characters are in. They're not necessarily trying to make us laugh, which is one thing that I really don't like. When the characters in the movie or the actors on screen are more focused on getting laughs out of the audience rather than acting like their characters would act in that certain situation, it takes me completely out of the movie. In this movie, the humor comes from the characters just being who they are, and my God, it was hilarious. I was laughing every single scene. If the scene was sad, there was some laughs in it. If it was happy, there were some laughs in it. If it was dark and shocking, there were some laughs in it. And it worked. It didn't feel distracting. It didn't feel like, oh, we should feel sad right now and we should feel like, you know, this dark emotion, but yet we're still laughing at it. That's just the genius of the movie. And I dare not spoil the jokes. I really don't want to spoil some of the jokes because, like, oh my God. This movie is one of the best movies I've ever seen. And yes, it does hit me on a personal level, but that's what movies are supposed to do. Movies are supposed to be experiences, out-of-body experiences, if they're really, really good, if they're really done well, entertaining, insightful, inspiring for you, the audience member. And I do think that this movie does have enough in it for me to warrant a recommendation to other people, even though this movie is so personal to me. But if you guys are going through the same thing, if you guys are going through a friend breakup, this is a must watch. But even not, if you're just a person who likes to watch film, you gotta see this movie, guys. 5 out of 5 from me. Easy. Top 3 of the year. I still like The Batman and I still like Top Gun Maverick, but like this movie is right up there. Like, it's in the same conversation easily. So those are my thoughts on Banshees of Inisherin. Let me know what your thoughts were down in the comment section down below if you have seen this movie. And the secret phrase is, "And he won the heart of a lady," which is a line from an Irish lullaby, which I was sung to by my mother every single night, my Irish mother, every single night when I was a child. So, "and he won the heart of a lady" is the secret phrase. So let me know that you've watched to the end of the video by saying that in the comment section down below. Hit like, hit subscribe. Of course, if you want to share this video to your friends, definitely do that also. And of course, I'm going to plug my Patreon. If you guys want to have movie night with me every single month, then join Patreon down below. And every single movie night, I give you guys a movie. So if that interests you, link is down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't miss this one. Really, don't miss this one. It was a fantastic film. 5 out of 5, easy. Okay, guys. See you in the next one.